for is coming up on the road. They had a tough one this past week, but what do they do that's so dangerous that you guys got to focus on?
First and foremost, they're really good. They've been a lot better defensively this year than they were last year. Not saying they weren't good last year, but they've been very good defensively, a little bit more aggressive, forcing about 14 steals a game. They have really good size, older guys. Offensively, they have one of the better guys in the league in Hunter Salas, who was a first-team all-conference guy last year, could really score it on all three levels. Hildreth can really score, drives it, gets fouled a lot. And then they have a guy inside, and Efton Reed, who can score with his back to the basket, really protects the rim. Spillers has been very good for him this year, transfer for App State. Very good rebounder, can score it. So they're just a balanced team. They really get out in transition. They've been a much different team at home this year than they had been on the road. Excuse me. I think they've lost once at home, twice the whole year, to two top 5 teams. And so they're just a really good basketball team and well coached.
Jeff, what do they do to create the steals? Is it pressure on the ball? Is it
Their pressure, their ball screen defense is a lot different this year than it was last year. They're up more. They get after the basketball. They're in gaps. They have really good size. You know, outside of Tyler Johnson, those other guys are big and long. You know, Salas is about 6'5", but he's really long. Hildreth is about 6'4", 6'3", but he's got long arms. He anticipates really well. And then Reed's huge. Spillers is about 6'7". They play it hard. They're aggressive. They're in passing lanes. They pressure the basketball. That's how they've been generating turnovers.
When a team covers the gaps like that and pressures the ball, is shooting over it, like long-range shooting or mid-range shooting?
Passing is the most important thing. You got to get off the ball. So we really have to be a good passing team on Saturday, and we have to be able to make shots. We have to keep them in rotation if we get them in rotation. So that's going to be really important for us. We've been pretty good this year with not turning the basketball over. It's going to be really important in that game with how they get out in transition, but also the types of shots that we take. That's going to be really important. Bad shots lead to your defense not being balanced and leads to fast break points for them.
Ish is shooting a career high from 2-point field goals so far this season. How do you balance telling him, like, hey, look, go be aggressive, you know, because he takes some tough twos, I would say, versus saying, like, look, we need to get the best look every possession?
Yeah, that's just what you keep trying to tell them, and all the guys. We want to get good looks every possession. I don't want to take away Ish's aggressiveness, but we just, if you have 2 on the ball, if you drive and they converge, we got to kick. You know, you got to trust your teammate, you know, to make that shot. I think we're getting better at that. Those 2 guys, Ish and Jalen especially, are improving in that area. They're understanding what teams are trying to do when they play us, which is give a lot of attention to those 2 guys. And I think we're getting better.
Talking about passing, I mean, against North Carolina, you guys had at least 2 possessions where you 3 or 4 passes really quick, you know, get North Carolina out of, I wouldn't say out of system, but you're just finding ways to get good looks. I mean, is that more something recently you've been working on, or is this something that's...
No, that's something we work on all the time. I just think we're getting better at getting off the basketball quicker, understanding the reads. I thought we had some outstanding plays against North Carolina where we did that, where we got them in rotation, we kept them in rotation. Some we were able to capitalize on. We capitalized on a lot, some in the first half, not as many in the second half, but as long as we're generating good looks, and when the ball moves, it normally means good looks for us.
With another game coming up 2 days later, is your bench a little bit more important at Wake Forest?
Our bench is always important, but you know, if you get minutes, you got to come in, you got to play well. Play well, then you normally get more minutes. So our bench is always important. We believe in those guys. We'll see how the game goes.
Your bench minutes was, I think, under 40 minutes the last 3 games, but it was over 40 minutes the 3 games before that. Is there a reason for that, or is that just like the feel of the game when that kind of stuff happens?
It's the feel of the game. I mean, you said the previous 3 games we didn't win them, so
There you go.
you know, maybe you look to do something different. I think it's important to do something different if you're not winning. And so, again, we have confidence in those guys off the bench, but when they get minutes, you have to produce. And it doesn't mean scoring. That's the thing. Some people may think it means scoring. You know, I thought Jorge played well in his minutes. He defended the heck out of RJ Davis. RJ hit a tough 2 on him. We live with that, you know, so you got to play your minutes. You got to come in, whether if you're a guy that can make a shot and you get a wide open shot, you got to take the shot. You know, you can't force a shot. You have to know what we're doing defensively. If we're in a coverage, you have to know the coverage. If you're supposed to be help, you can't be a guy that they just try to pick on and you come in and, okay, we're going to go at him. You got to be able to stand up. And so normally when you do that, you earn more.
After Reed last year, when they were here, you guys put Jefferson on him and late in the game, kind of stymied him, and then they kind of got you guys back when you're there. But then you guys won the tournament. What have you learned about defending him as a big, and what you guys have to do to slow him down?
Yeah, he's a tough guy to guard because he's big, he's huge, and he's strong. He does a really good job of posting. He can score with either hand. He's got good touch. He's a really good free throw shooter, and he's a good offensive rebounder. You have to try to guard him before he gets it. You have to try to get him out of his spots. You can't let him. You have to try to prevent him from getting deep post ups. If you can get him to catch it off the block, maybe one step, and then have help, whether you're digging, if we double, and try to make him take tough shots, and then hope that he misses. We got to keep him off the glass. That's a huge thing. A lot of times, if he doesn't get it, he does a great job of hitting it back out, swatting it back out. So we have to do a good job there.
Is there extra work you guys have done considering the rebounding struggles you guys have had for the past month or so?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it, but we've tried to work on it. We've emphasized it. We'll continue to do it. Try to find some different things to do. Hopefully we're better at it.
What's been the biggest difference for your team this past 2 games compared to the 4-game losing streak you had prior?
I think we've learned, I think we've gotten better with sustaining how hard we have to play for a longer, more extended period of time. If you look at the last 2 games, really, the last 4 minutes, we made plays against North Carolina. We got some 50-50 balls. We got some rebounds. Whereas in the previous 2 home games, Clemson and Louisville, we didn't get those 50-50 balls late. We didn't rebound the basketball late, and both of those teams made us pay for it. Against North Carolina and Syracuse, we were able to get some stops. We were able to get a couple of rebounds against North Carolina, and then we were able to go down and score, make some free throws to extend the lead.
What do you guys have to do to kind of keep the flow when you guys are playing defensively? Like we've talked about this a lot this year, as far as a whole game, but like first half and the last game, not as much. Second half, you guys put the clamps down. Is there a trigger that you have to reach as a coach to get there, or what are the?
Well, we have to start better. I don't like the way we started last game, or the way we started the second half. So we have to be better there. We have to understand what our opponent is trying to do to us. One of the things that each opponent has tried to do, especially with our backcourt, is to be super physical. So we have to understand that. Against North Carolina, we come out and we had talked about it, but we didn't really do it right away. We got a out of bounds called on us on the side when we were going to ball screen, and our immediate reaction is to turn to the ref and say that they pushed us. They're going to push you. We have to know that, and we have to be prepared for that, and we have to attack it. We have to know what our opponent's trying to do, and we have to be ready to attack it. We talk about it, we have to be able to go. Now, we adjusted. I thought the second half, the biggest adjustment is what we did schematically, defensively. We just switched, and it kept us out of rotations. I think what we talked about doing, our coaching staff, in the first half, it wasn't the right way to guard North Carolina. They made us pay for it. And so we were able to adjust in the last 3.5 minutes of the first half, and we stuck with that in the second half, and it worked for us. So proud of our guys for being able to make that adjustment, and it forced us to switching, forced us to talk more, be in the help more, to fly around defensively more. And so if we are not switching, if we're in our other coverages, we have to play the same way.
Jeff, every coach wants 40 minutes of intensity, but how hard is that really for any team to attain?
It's hard, but the really good teams understand how to do it. The really good players understand how to do it. They understand how to play through tired. You know, normally when you're tired, you get inward. When you get inward or tired, I was taught, and I didn't do this well as a freshman, but as I got older, I figured it out, like you talk more, because then your mind's not thinking about being tired. If you can think about somebody else, then normally you're not thinking about you, or I'm tired, or, you know, whatever. But the really good teams understand how to get as close to 40 minutes as possible. We're trying to become a really good team. We're getting closer to that. The last two games were indicative of that. We were close against Louisville and Clemson. Again, if we get one rebound, 50-50 ball late, maybe it's a different story. But I'm trying not to think about the rear view. I'm trying to stay present. So let me talk about right now. Hopefully we're building on what we've done the last two games.
When you make an adjustment again, like you did in North Carolina, you say, hey, we switched. Is that something that you're like, hey, this is a plan B that we planned for this specific week? Or are those instances where it's like you as a coach just know you have this wide gamut of different strategies that you have to pick from, and sometimes just picking the right one?
Yeah, we work on different things all the time. You know, when we played Ohio State, we switched in the second half. And so it's not something that we haven't done. We've done it. But we work on different things, even in practices, we game plan, because you got to prepare for if what you're doing is not working. Then you can't just keep doing the same thing. I think that's not smart. And so we try to make adjustments and talk to our guys, watch film, and, you know, maybe look at what other teams have done and see if it's something that we can copy, or if teams have had success. Sometimes the makeup of your team is not what others are as far as size or the way they play, but maybe looking at those things. But again, our guys have been pretty good about being able to make adjustments.
With you guys finding success, switching everything against Ohio State and then UNC, do you anticipate seeing more of that, or is that just a matchup-based thing?
It's a matchup-based thing. UNC was pretty small, and so sometimes it's a little bit easier. If you're playing against teams that have really good size, the switching could be problematic, and so you have to adjust. But it is something we can continue to do.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank